good morning. My name is Irfan Rais, and I'm here to present our presentation. And we choose the topic of mining industry for economics. We are three members in our group: Usama Zahid, Manoj, and me, Irfan Rais. So my student ID is WHC2493. So mining industry in Australia. Mining industry is one of the five pillars of Australian economy. I will start it from the introduction of mining company. So mining industry uh, contributes about 8.5% of GDP and employs around 2% of workforce in Australia, and it almost paid $12.7 billion in taxes and $10 billion in royalties, and it about contributes 50% of total exports of Australia. And from 2000 to 2010, the export value increased from $63 billion to $139 billion, only from 2000 to 2010, in these 10 years. So let's start with the background of mining industry in Australia. So Australia was rich with a lot of minerals, and it was exporting a lot of minerals like lead, copper, iron ore, and coal. So world's second largest country in terms of gold export is Australia. So the first boom, let's start with the first boom, was in 1850s, gold rush, and it was famous for me. It made the colonies, which was famous in all over the globe. So and after that, number of immigrants increased due to rising wealth in Australia and agriculture and industrial development, and provided 40% of world's gold by the end of 1850s. And the second boom was from 1870s to 1900, and become the world's most important producer of tin in 1970s, Australia. So provided metals such as coals, iron, ore, silver, lead, zinc, and gold, which increased its revenues. From 19 to 1950, mining activities declined despite of increase in the demand of minerals. Only available resources were zinc, lead, and copper. Export control of iron were left over in 1960. A huge growth of iron ore due to development in Pilbara region in Western Australia. In 1970s and onward, major exporter of mineral resources, especially for European countries and Japan. And Australia ranked in the top five countries in terms of gold, bauxite, nickel, zinc, black coal, magnesium ore, and aluminium export. And it attracts all big investors from all over the world because of increasing the opportunities and wealth in this sector in Australia. Now I would like to call Osama for further explanation. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Irfan. My name is Usama Zahid. My student ID is MW2071. Now I'm going to tell you about the market structure. In Australia, the mining market structure is oligopolistic, in which the few large companies are operating, and they don't let small business survive, because when the small businesses try to survive, they reduce the price of their products, and the burden of this cannot be paid by small businesses. Top 50 companies have a net worth of 842 billion in whole world, and they contribute 258 billion in terms of market capitalization in Australia. The few companies are BHP, which have market capitalization of 90.67 billion, and Rio Tinto and Glencore as well. In 2015, commodity prices hiked. Large companies survived because they didn't let their company structure let down, and they reduced the price of the product, and this pressure cannot be paid by small companies, and the large firms can influence the political factors to turn legislation in their favor, because if the large companies are involved in political matters, so there's a huge chance of corruption, just like the Western Australia is suffering, and Queensland as well. So it shouldn't be done. before 2000, US was the targeted market because of the hype of gold in 1800s. So until 1800 to 2000, US was the main point of target, and focus changed towards China because of the rapid development, industrial growth, and urbanization of the country. So Asian countries are moreover attracted towards China because of their development. Rising demand from China and Asian countries for iron and coal decreased because of the supply, and it benefited Australia very well. A decline was experienced from 2012 onwards due to falling demand from China and the Asian countries. So after 2012 and onwards, Australia didn't benefit much from the mineral. As you can see that one part of global demand of petroleum, copper and steel is contributed by China from 2000 to 2010, which led to the price hike, and after that there is a much decline in the demand of these products. Rise in demand from 2000 to 2005 can be seen in the graph, and they're explaining very well about the mineral demand from Australia and China from the time period of 2000 to 2010. As you can see that mining exports grew 3 times from as you can see that mining exports grew 3 times from 2003 to 2012, and the mining industry grew exponentially in 2000 as well. And before 2000, reduced production of the minerals and rising mergers created a loophole in demand supply of the market. Now I'm gonna invite my friend Manoj.
Thanks Osama and Ifan for the previous contribution. This is Manoj Kodati with student ID number AGM2131. Now I'll discuss about impact of mining boom in Australia. This increased purchase power of people in Australia. Gross domestic income is also increased by 6% in 2013. Foreign investments has also increased in Australia because of mining. National consumption and spending is also increased, and all these factors resulted in decline of unemployment. And next, effects of mining boom on other industries. Because of mining, manufacturing industries like sustained more, it was good, and this resulted in other industries a fall, and that because of Dutch disease. In 2018, iron ore earnings was decreased by 11 billions. It's a huge amount. Now the conclusion. Government policies. Explore lithium market. Major mineral, lithium is a major mineral which is 17% of world's wealth of lithium is in Australia. Remove tariffs and taxes on agriculture industries, and also mineral commodities, and also in manufacturing goods, and also in processed food. Take advantage of service sector to boost the economic growth. Yeah. Thanks.